All right. So we're just going to talk a little bit about using Evernote in the classroom, different uses that teachers have come up with for ways to use it with students, ways to use it for yourself, and some of the different plugins. And this should be a great intro to Evernote for anybody getting started here. So let's start with Mark.
Okay, so I've primarily been using Evernote for personal stuff. I've been using it to, at first, organize my lessons for the start of the school year, but then more recently, I've gotten into doing some writing and organizing some creative projects, and Evernote is pretty much what I've been using exclusively to manage that creative, basically the entire creative process. Everything from researching notes for a novel to actually, I've actually been doing the writing on Evernote. Because at least on the iPad, I found it the most comfortable way to write, and that I could work on a chapter at home on my iPad and then have it available on my laptop the next day. So I really have liked that. All right, so sorry for the delay. This is basically what my Evernote is like. So I'll start you off with this was what I was using for the beginning of the year, just sort of getting used to Evernote. What I really found that I started to like on it was for some of the more personal stuff. Here I could work on some of the stuff that I'm doing for a novel I'm working on. And some of the things that I really like about it is, let's see if I can find a little bit of, sorry about that. If we go to where some of the notes are. So, if you go, here's some notes I'm doing for a 1930s airplane, one of the characters would have. What I found I really liked about it is that when I would copy and paste the URL in there, once I've got the URL in Evernote, I can just click on the URL and have it go to the page. This seems like, so what, like not a real big deal with a laptop. Where I found it really useful was just how fast and effective it was when I would click on those links on an iPad or on a smartphone or anything like that. So I found that worked really well. So we go back to going back to our Evernote. So yeah, just some really great stuff there. One of the other things to notice is you can put pictures in. That's become really useful for me. And so I'm really interested in how I would kind of manage my pictures a little bit better and organize them a little bit more. That's the one area where I'm seeing things are a little clumsy right now, or at least I'm a little clumsy, I should say, with it. The other thing I would just throw out there on things that I've done, I did use Evernote for a comment presentation I did, and one of the things I loved about this is I could work on it whenever I had time, and then what I ended up doing was sharing the entire notebook that I had worked on with the people who attended my presentation, and so I could just add to the notebook, and as long as they had that link, the first thing I had them do was check their email for the email where I link. All I did was I went to the notebook and did share notebook, and unfortunately I think because of my connection right now, there it is. So it gets that public link, and then all I did is I went to that link and copied it, and then I pasted it into the body of the email, and that everyone was able to just get that email, click on that link, and go right to that. And what was awesome for me was that way I could send it out to everyone, but I could have like the presentation outline, and then I had instructions for people on the PC and people on the Mac, and so I didn't have to specifically choose who got it. I could just put it all out there, and so that was really cool. So yeah, so that's primarily what I've been doing with it. Again, pretty much a lot of personal stuff. Where I've found it just amazing for that type of stuff is, again, the ability to work on it anywhere at any time and just not miss a beat. The ability to gather information. And as I've started to work with some other artists collaborating on some of these personal projects, I find it really easy to share stuff. Whether like I did with sharing the notebook for the presentation, or just sending it as an email to people, is just really cool. So I'm excited to see what else I can do with it from a school standpoint, in terms of using it with the kids. I know a lot of the kids are starting to use it. So yeah, I really am a huge fan.
Very cool. Well, Abigail's still having technical difficulties, so what I'll do is I'll just have you jump in on mine in a minute. So what I'll show you is some of the connections, the add-ons that I've been using. One of them is Sketch, which is probably, to me, the most useful add-on. And here we go. So Sketch is a photo editor and annotator. And what it does, it opens up a window, and you can do various things. You can do screenshots. You can do, and they keep adding features too. Like this new timed screen snap is great. I use the screen snap all of the time, and what it allows you to do is you tap on it, and you can just grab any picture of the active window you're working on. Give it the dimensions you want, hit capture, and then you can just have some fun with it, and you can annotate whatever you want. Be like, ooh.
Scott, I lost your screen share. I just got your...
Oh, here, let's go back to screen share. Here we go. Okay, so here's the screen share I grabbed, and I can write in. I love this guy. And really, the applications here are great. I use this a lot for tech instructions. If I'm doing a how-to guide or something, I can just grab my screenshots. I can annotate them. I can say, you know, first do this, then do this. It's just really super easy. You can, you know, change. You have highlighters and painting. You can change colors and paintbrush sizes. This is just kind of all around, you know, a really great live annotation tool. You could do this in the classroom. It saves the picture. It is super easy to drag your pictures into anything you want. And it also saves it directly in Evernote. Now here's what's awesome. Evernote is online. So if I go to my Evernote, let's see, Evernote here. It should maybe not synced up yet. I'll just give you an example from here. But here I have a screenshot that I had taken before, and I can now share this URL. And this URL can be used, I've used in Google Sites as the location of the picture. You can send people directly to the image. And I can then go in and I can edit that picture, and that link to that website is going to stay live. So it's one of those ways where you can just really, it's a great app. It stores in your Evernote account. You can share it out inside of a notebook.
This is Sketch.
This is called Sketch.
Okay. I have two things. One, when I tried Sketch on my laptop, I found that it became the default program for opening any image file ever, and that was a little frustrating. And I was wondering if there's a way around that.
There should be. You should be able to
Just make it not the default.
make it not the default and open it up in Camera or Paint or whatever photo application you're using. It is a great app to have as a standard opener because you open an image from a friend and you want to make something funny and you just annotate it and send it back to them.
Can you do that to a PDF? You look at the PDF as an image.
I believe right now it doesn't, but what you could do is you could have the PDF open. Let's see if there's something I can open up here. I'm trying to open up a PDF. It's not letting me do that.
That's a shame, because that would be an interesting way to grade an essay.
You could. You would do it in pieces. It wouldn't be the whole document. It's not like a live document.
Okay.
And it's not like you can have a shared Evernote and then use Sketch to annotate on top of the Evernote. It doesn't work like that. It's much more of an image. Grab an image, annotate it, share it, and you can drag, drop, grab a URL, share it wherever you want.
So I guess what I would be looking for would be something like the Sketch toolset on top of an Evernote file. Like if I could access one of your Evernotes and be able to go in and highlight things and circle things and draw on
just
things,
scribble right on top of it.
That would be what I would be really looking for a grading.
We got to send that to Evernote.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to turn it over to Abigail. And so let's change this. Sweet.
All right. So I'm going to talk about how I use Evernote in the classroom, but before I do that, I just want to point out some ways that I use it personally to add to what Mark had to say. Personally, I use the Evernote plugin on my web browser, and I can clip selections from different web pages. So when I find an article or something that I might want to keep or refer back to, I will highlight it and use the Evernote web clipper to clip that into my Evernote. Additionally, there's a new plugin called Evernote Clearly, I believe, and if you install that on your browser and click on it, it will additionally blank out all of the extraneous stuff like ads and such, and so you can use that to also clip and highlight text on a website, and it will clip your highlighted information into your Evernote web browser. So those are two ways I use it personally. That could be also useful for your students in the classroom.
And what add-on was that?
Clearly?
Clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they also have the web clipper.
Web clipper, yeah.
How do you get that? Because I have it in my Outlook, and it's awesome for that. The Evernote plugin in my Outlook. But how would you get it in
your web browser?
Yeah, do you just?
So you have to go to, I guess it would be Preferences.
Okay.
And then you would look for the thing that is add-ons or plugins.
Okay. And
then do a search for Evernote.
Awesome.
And you should find the web clipper and Clearly. And both will clip the information from a website. However, the Clearly is really nice because it'll just block out the text from the site. And so all the ads and extraneous stuff is gone, and it's just like the text. And you can also highlight parts as well, and it will clip the highlight into your Evernote.
Wonderful. That's great.
And so in the classroom, I've been using Evernote to have students turn in reflections or any work that I want them to, that requires them to do some thinking, journaling, etc. I have them turn it into an Evernote, a shared Evernote notebook. So what I did is I had to experiment. There's two ways you can do it. One way is you can have the students create a notebook and share it with you. However, there's a limitation on the number of shared notebooks one person can join. And I think right now that limit is 100. So for me, for most people, that would work, I think, in a regular teaching situation. How would
you manage the class?
How would you manage the class? So what I had to do, though, because I have more than 100 students, is I had to create my notebooks myself and share them with each student. So what I did was I created an individual notebook for each student with their username, and then I grouped them into a stack. So you can drag each notebook on top of each other, and it creates what's called a stack in Evernote. And you can label each stack by your class, so then you just have a class of list of all your different students' notebooks for each class. And then I shared each notebook individually with each student, so only that student can share their information, their notes in that notebook with me, and vice versa. And so in doing that, students are able to create notes and add them into that notebook. And when they sync it, I will get the new notes that they've created. And vice versa, I can add in any notes I want them to see. And when they sync, they will get my notes. I've encountered a few issues, but I think that is just because of versions of Evernote. Currently, the students have a version that's 2 or 3 versions behind the current version, which I'm running. So there are some things that would make it a little bit easier to look at their work, which I think everyone will be able to implement the next time around they're trying to use it. One cool feature is that tagging. So you can have students use specific tags so that you can look up specific assignments really easily and browse through them all in a row. So what I have my students doing right now is I have them tag their notes with their section and the topic of whatever the reflection is. So if the reflection is a video trailer, then they'll do their section video trailer. And then I can go through, and when I want to look at sections 1's work, I can do a search of section 1 video trailer, and all the reflections for section 1's video trailer will come up, and I can look through them pretty quickly. So that's one thing I really like about Evernote, is the fact that you can do a quick glance at student work really quickly. So I can go to any one student notebook and just be like, this, see what they have, see how much they've written, if they've even started something or not started something, and do that really quickly, which is, I think, an advantage over Google Drive, because you don't have thumbnails and you have to actually go to each individual file to look at that work.
Very cool. Awesome. So overall, impressed with Evernote?
I've absolutely fallen in love with it. I don't think I could be undertaking the scope of some of the personal creative projects I'm doing now. I mean, I've jumped from basically wanting to do a novel to starting an entertainment line. Like, I'm working on a novel. I've got a friend that I'm sending designs to. We're going to be working on a graphic novel together. I've got a children's book in the works now. Like, I basically, and it's all because Evernote just works really, really well for the way I think and process information, and just having it all there and so accessible. And then it's been great for school, because no matter where I am, I can pull out my phone or my iPad or my laptop and jot down something about, you know, tomorrow's lesson or the next scene in Julius Caesar. And I just love having that information wherever I am on whatever device I've got. So yeah, I'm a huge, huge fan of it.
And I second, being able to access it on multiple devices is really, really helpful. I find that I can be looking at Evernote stuff, looking at student stuff on my iPad, and then inputting grades and stuff on my laptop in Athena, and then I don't have to switch back and forth applications a bunch. I have one open and I can do stuff on my actual laptop. The other thing I really am a fan of is that quick, instantaneous, quick use of it. You open it up and the students can get right to work really fast. It doesn't require 5 minutes like Word or something to open up. You can get them reflecting really quickly, and at the press of a button, they sync it and you have it. So that's really a useful tool. I also enjoy the fact that I can scan student work really quickly and easily. And then personally, I've been using it for probably 5-6 years now, and I use it for just about everything in my life. To-do list, I don't know, clipping things, or clipping recipes, clipping articles, clipping lessons from other people. And it's nice that you can organize everything in their own little notebook, and then also that it's all searchable. So even if you forget a notebook you put something in, you can get that all back really easily.
Very cool. Any comparisons to Google Docs? Using one over the other, is it apples and apples or apples and oranges?
Well, I think you can do, there's some things you can do on Google Drive, like commenting on student papers and things like that. I don't think there's an easy way to do it right now in Evernote. However, and I think the setup time is probably about equal, having to do a notebook for each student in Google Drive versus a notebook on Evernote, a collection or a folder in Google Drive versus a notebook in Evernote. I think the setup time is probably about the same, but what you don't get in Google Drive is this ability to really quickly look at work. I believe in Google Drive, in order to see what students have done, you actually have to click and open up each document that they've written or worked on. Whereas with Evernote, you can always have a really quick overview and look of what they've been doing. I haven't used it to collaborate very much, haven't had the students use it to collaborate very much, so I'm not sure how all collaboration works, but I have used it with Scott, and that has been working really well. We're right now planning our CAIS presentation together using an Evernote shared note, and that works great. And we also use it for our 6th grade curriculum. So we do planning together with that, and we just put notes in there, and we both can take things off and share things really easily. So that's another good feature of that. And also because I've used it, integrated it with my whole life, I find it so much easier to go to than actually having to go to Google Docs and have another thing.
See, that's exactly where I'm at. Like, for some reason, Google Docs has never quite rocked with me. Whereas with Evernote, within minutes of starting to use it, I was already starting to use it in different aspects of my life, and it just works the way I expect it to work. And like Abigail was saying, I hadn't really thought about it, but that speed is huge. Like, one of the things I love about it is I can be lying in bed, wake up with an idea, grab my iPad, turn it on, put on Evernote, type in something, and go back to bed and go back to sleep before I even kind of realize what happened. And I can't do that with anything else, like, except maybe a piece of paper and a pen, at which point then I wouldn't be able to access it on my phone or on my laptop. You know, that speed is something I hadn't even thought about, but it's a huge part of why it's just so usable. You know?
And even if it's just 30 seconds, you start adding that up with 100 and something students, you're saving tons and tons of time with more and more projects.
Well, and even like 30 seconds for a moment of inspiration is enough for you to be like, I'll remember it tomorrow. And you don't. And that's part of the problem.
Yeah, or forget it completely.
Exactly.
30 seconds later, you've lost it.
Yeah, to just be somewhere and be like, you know what, that would make a great lesson. Or like, I should totally mention that about Shakespeare. And just to not be like, oh, I'll remember it, but be like, I should put that in my Evernote. It's fast and easy enough where you can have that and do it and not think twice about doing it. And that's a way bigger deal than I kind of actually thought it was. But like, that is a big deal.
It's huge. And the other thing is all the plugins that Evernote has. Like people are constantly adding things that you can use. Like Scott talked about Sketch, but there's plenty of other things that you can integrate with Evernote and the suite of little apps that they're coming up with. If you're a person who likes to cook, just a personal note, and you like to clip things off the web, you can clip all your recipes off the web, and now Evernote has this app called Evernote Food or something that you can track all your food when you go to restaurants. But what it will also do is pull anything that's a recipe from your Evernote into Evernote, this Evernote Food thing, and now you have a whole recipe book, and you didn't have to do any work. So
that is awesome.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I'm just amazed more and more with everything Evernote plugs into it.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
All
Thank
right.
you.
This
Yeah.
is awesome.
I learned some cool stuff today.